Okay, now let me explain you a flag control while loop. So what happened with the flag control? The flag control use a Boolean variable, okay, a Boolean variable to control the loop. So immediately you see inside the while loop that there is a Boolean variable, you know that this is a flag control. And when we're gonna use that? Okay, let me show you the formula, the recipe. I'm gonna explain you when could be a situation where when you're gonna need to use that. Okay, let's gonna start. So the flag control loop need a Boolean variable. So I declare here a Boolean variable be found and initialize to false. Okay, now what happened? If the be found is false, in order to make the loop run, what do I need to do? Is use a not operator, right? Because if this is false, the not operator is gonna turn be found to true. And it's gonna allow me to get into the while loop. Okay, so now you know, in order to prevent infinity loop, what is gonna be your job? Immediately, when you meet the condition that you want, right? Because you want to repeat and repeat and repeat many times the while loop. But in order to stop the loop, you will need to make be found equal which value? True, right? Because if be found is true, you negate that, it's gonna be false, right? So your job is gonna be that inside the loop, when you detect, when you meet the requirement, you meet the condition, immediately change the value of be found to true in order to stop the while loop. For example, what happens if you are reading a file, okay? And inside the file, you wanna, stop, or you're gonna say that you need to do a search by ID, for example. You wanna search, you wanna find a student, okay? And you're gonna search by student ID, okay? So you need to search in the entire table student. If you're connecting to the database, anything, or if you're reading from a file, you need to scan line by line in order to, or row by row, if you are reading a table, if you found the student with that ID, correct? Okay, assume that this while loop is doing the scan of the table scan. Okay, while be found, okay, so at the beginning be found is false, so negate that is gonna be true. You get into the while loop and then read line, okay, or read rows of the table, okay? And then what happened? If the student ID match in the table, what happened? If that match, if this student ID match with the student ID that is on the table, perfect. We got the student, right? So we need to stop the loop. Of course, you need to retrieve more information for the student, but this is a simple example, right? So if that is true, you're gonna change the value of be found to true because you found the student that you are looking for. So you don't need to continue the repetition. If you change to true, not is gonna be false, and you're gonna stop the repetition. But what happens if you don't found the student in the first row? If the student ID exists in the first row on the table, false, okay? Be found is false. Be found is false. So negate false is true. Continue here. So now, next line. The student ID match with the student ID that you're looking for? No. Okay. Continue the repetition. Continue the repetition because the only way, the only code where we change the value be found is if you get into the if statement here. As you see, you can have if statement inside a while loop, right? So this if statement is gonna verify that we found the student, for example, and is going to help us to stop the repetition. Only when we found the student ID, for example, this expression, okay, is going to be true, and then we're going to change the value of be found to true, so we're going to stop the repetition. This is an example of while loop. We're going to use a lot of them pretty much at the end of the semester when we're going to create objects and create like a small database with the files and perform some search operation in the files. Okay, but for now, at least you need to know what is the logic for flag control. Okay, thank you.